welcome to another edition of Hartford Community Leaders. Got a wonderful program for you today. We actually just sit back, relax, and join with us. 1 hour good programming. Today we're going to be talking about Hartford perspective, and we have our guest, special guest on today, and we ask you to chime in. If you have questions, let us know that you're out there. I want to take this opportunity to thank our staffing, Sister Trish Nelson, who is our chief engineer, Lakia Siobhan Lightner, our co-host, Brother Armando and Mike, who are cable casting and cameramen. Thank them for all the volunteer efforts that they've presented every week that we bring you great quality programming here on Hartford Public Access TV, and we just want to thank them for their volunteerism. Today we have numerous topics we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about fire safety, something that is so very important during the season, and we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about women's conference, money conference coming up real soon. And also we have a young lady who's a photographer, and she's working on a movie. So we got a great program for you today. Interesting topics that we're going to be covering, and so we ask you to tune in, tell a friend, tell a neighbor that we're on. All right. At this time, we're going to get into our interviews, and so today with us we have 3 special guests, and we're going to ask Lakia if she has anything she wants to get into.
No, I'm going to get into the interview.
All right, let's get into the meat.
That's
All
right.
Let's get into the meat. Hey, thank you for tuning in on Instagram, Twitter, and then Facebook Live. Thank you all for tuning in. We thank you. Make sure you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, and make sure you share. All right. Well, we have 3 guests, and Lakia is going to start with the first interview.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce Miss Adrienne W. Cochran. She is from the YWCA Hartford region, and she's here to discuss the money conference for women that'll be this week. Okay.
And
Yes.
there's
Okay. Okay, Andrew, you ready?
so yeah, welcome to be on Hartford Community.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, you.
Questions?
Okay, my first question, can you tell us when is the cutoff point for registering?
It is coming very close. We are almost at capacity. So
Okay.
our capacity is about 325. So we're almost there. So we encourage anyone who's interested to go online and register immediately.
Okay, and can you tell the audience the workshops that are going to be available at the
Certainly.
conference?
We have a multitude of workshops. But first, could I just add one thing very
Yes,
quickly?
yes.
So our state treasurer, Denise Napier, has been a huge supporter. As a matter of fact, it is she that brought the idea of doing a money conference to the YWCA. And she's been a huge supporter. And so this is her last year in office, and actually her last time in her current position that she will be attending our conference. So we are looking forward to honoring her and celebrating all that she has done and that we hope she will continue to do
Wonderful.
at the start of our conference. So as you mentioned, we have a number of workshops. It's this Saturday, October 20th. We're starting at 7:30 a.m. and it's going to end at about noon. And our workshops are going to include investment basics, so a guide for just introducing people to how to make basic investments. A pay negotiation techniques for women, so just ways to figure out how you can get what you're due in the workplace, and retirement planning, never too early or too late. We're also going to have a workshop for people who are interested in beginning small businesses, as well as how to just take control of your money and plan for your own financial future. We're going to have a financial workshop for young women. The YWCA has a leadership corps of very young ladies, actually, that are middle school and above, and so we're going to have a special workshop for them. So again, never too early to start planning. And first-time home buyers, first-time home ownership is so important. And we know that one of the paths to self-sufficiency, particularly in our communities, is to own something. It doesn't have to be the biggest house on the block and the most expensive one, but own something, and then you build generational wealth that way. So we're going to have a workshop that's going to talk to folk about how they can get their first home. And then making credit and debt work for you. All credit isn't good credit and all debt isn't bad debt. And we want to make sure that our attendees have a really broad understanding of money, their money, and how to always have it working for them. And this is how you make people self-sufficient. This is how you're able to sustain yourself when you're able to take control of your financial future.
That's right. Exactly. My next question, can women join the YWCA as members or volunteers?
Absolutely. There's an opportunity for both.
All right. And my next question is, will there be another money conference next year?
There will be another money conference. We're just looking at how everything that works, we want to continue doing. Some things you're going to put a little bit of a facelift on it so it doesn't look like it's the same thing year after year. But one thing we know that this is important information that we need to impart to people, to all people.
That's right.
And so we will certainly continue with the money conference.
Wonderful. And my final question, is there going to be food? Because, people on the Travis, food is around. So is there going to be food
Well,
at
they
the
better
money
come
conference?
early. So this year is a little bit different than in recent years. It's been a full-day conference. And so the organizers noticed that afternoon, it's a Saturday. And so it starts to sort of fall off because people have other things to do. That's why we're getting started so early, 7:30 a.m., and we will end at noon. However, we will have breakfast.
Okay.
So we'll have a hot breakfast, and there's plenty for all of those attendees. And again, anyone who's still interested should absolutely start their registration now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, do you have anything? That was my final question.
Okay.
Yes.
Those that don't know about the money conference, what is exactly the money conference, Women's Money Conference? Can you give us an explanation of the whole entire money conference?
Sure. So the idea here is, if you look at the mission of the YWCA, it's first of all to eliminate racism, and secondly, empower women. So part of how we're empowering people is to help them move closer to financial and economic self-sufficiency. So many of us don't understand credit. We don't understand the difference between a credit union and a bank. We don't understand the concept of paying yourself first, not just going out and buying those designer shoes and designer bags and not having anything in the bank. The concept of building generational wealth, which starts with owning a home, or the concept of how to get what you're due. We have this fear of walking into our employer and saying, I do X amount of work, or I've worked here a certain number of years, and not comparing ourselves to anyone else, as a means of getting our just due. Comparing ourselves to ourselves and asking for a pay increase. So we want to help young women, mature women. We want to help men. We want to help people understand the concept of taking control of your financial destiny.
That's right.
And these workshops are really put together. We have some great sponsors. Voya, of course, leads this each year. And we have Bank of America, we have Prudential, we have several banks. So we have quite a few people who are invested, or organizations and entities that are invested in helping people, become more financially sound. And that was the birth of the Money Conference. Michelle Singletary, who is nationally known for this work, joins us again this year. We sat around the table talking about who should we have, and it's like, you keep going with what works. And she has promised to bring a couple of different approaches to some of these financial questions. So it's really about our piece, certainly about empowering women. But we empower women, we also empower their families.
Now, also, we have a lot of college students out there. Is this something that we can talk to for our college students? Because a lot of times the college students are so burdened. We did a financial literacy workshop in 2015, and we had a majority of college students that came in, and we did it at the Hartford Public Library, and so that was some of the questions that they had about. The financial burdens, just talking to them and encouraging them.
Absolutely. There's a great opportunity for college students.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we take it back to middle school and high school where you get the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
For college students who typically, I know that used to be the big thing, you go off and they're waving credit cards.
Yes.
And all of a sudden,
Oh, yeah.
I can buy this, and they'll give me a t-shirt. They'll also give you an astronomical interest rate
Right.
and ruin your credit when you can't pay the bill.
Right.
And so it's to understand that maybe that's okay to get that as your first credit card.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't run it up to the limit and pass it and get a double-digit interest rate starting. That's not good credit. So absolutely, it's a good time to hopefully build on what mom and dad and other parental figures may have told them, in their formative years, to say, here's a way for you to be responsible, and here's a way for you to start saving for your future now. Because it looks like, oh my goodness, I don't have to think about this for 40 years. And all of a sudden, 40 years is upon you. And you're looking at retirement, and you're not positioned to take care of yourself or significant others.
Right.
Or you're a college student or just post-college, your first job.
Right.
Maybe you have a parent or a grandparent or someone, a sibling, somebody that you'd like to be able to help out that isn't as fortunate as you've been, and ways that you can do that but still maintain your own financial independence.
Right.
So we would encourage the college students to come to the one that talks about responsible credit.
Yes. And so this event happens, the Money Conference for Women happens October 20th, 2018.
Yes.
And what time does it start?
7:30 a.m. and
All
we'll
right.
end at noon.
And it says this is sponsored by the YWCA Hartford Region.
Correct.
And honorary chair, Connecticut State Treasurer,
Yes.
Denise L. Napier.
Yes.
And is she going to be speaking?
She will be. This
Okay.
is she speaks every year. She gets that opportunity. But again, this is so bittersweet, I'm sure, for her. This is something that is so near and dear to her heart. And that I came to Hartford a little over 8 years ago and actually was having dinner with her, and she told me about this money conference.
All right.
She's so invested in the idea of our young women really learning to be financially secure on their own. And so yes, she's going to be speaking, and we're going to have an opportunity to honor her here. And we're going to have an opportunity to honor her again later.
That'd be great.
Yes.
And so, Hartford, if you want to register, I know they have a few slots available.
Yes.
Because this money conference is so popular and with residents. And so, YWCA Hartford.org.
Yes.
And they can go and register. And this conference, the conference focuses on money management, investment strategies, and retirement planning for women of all ages,
Yes.
economic background, and levels of financial knowledge. So, hey, Hartford, if you're interested, and make sure you go to the YWCAHartford.org to register. And this all happens October the 20th. That's this coming Saturday.
That is this coming Saturday. And Hartford,
Yeah.
sign up today. Those slots are going quickly. And if for some reason you happen not to be a woman, but you want to come, then we welcome you as well.
All right, Hartford. Thank you so much, Adrienne Cochran. Thank you so much for. It's a blessing to have you here.
That's right.
Thank you for
finally
the
got
opportunity.
an opportunity to meet you. You hear the name on the news. You hear their name in the papers, and just a great opportunity to have you here.
Thank you so very much. I look forward to coming back.
All right,
Yes.
wonderful.
And-
Look forward to having you come back.
And can we thank Yvonne Davis too?
Yes.
We really should thank
Thanks
you.
Yvonne Davis for
All right.
connecting us with Miss Adrian.
Yvonne is my PR and communications
All right.
consultant. I've been
Alright.
working with her almost 8 years too.
Oh,
So
that's
Wonderful.
great.
she makes sure that I'm where I need to be, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for shouting her out.
No
All right,
problem.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Today, we have another guest who's a special guest. He is one of the lieutenants at the Hartford Fire Department, and we have Lieutenant Jesus Lopez. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Hey, during this holiday season, we see so many different fires happening. Today we're going to be talking about fire safety. And could you give us a little introduction of what fire safety is?
Oh, definitely. So fire safety is a set of practices that's intended to reduce the damage caused by fire. That can go along with the means of preventing ignition all the way to reducing the damage caused by fire once it has started. So
Yeah.
that goes along with having your smoke detectors up to
Right.
detect the smoke, and then having a plan on getting out the house.
All right. Yeah, and so, a lot of fires happen, using like decorations. They, set candles up, during the holiday season, and, they have candles lit in the house. You have packages near heaters or things like that. What can the viewers out there know about, fire safety and how to, be a more fire safety mindset, have a mindset of fire safety?
That's a great question, putting that the season is coming, that a lot of people are going to use their space heaters, turn up the heat that they have already. And if there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that doesn't have the means to have the regular heating source, as in gas heaters and oil, or lack of funds to even get these resources, so they will resort to heating the house with the oven. That's huge, and that's dangerous because of risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Space heaters, they should be at least 3 feet away from anything around it. Maybe your bed, boxes especially. Just keep them away because the constant heat can cause combustion and ignite whatever materials is near it. And then if you don't have any smoke detectors on top of that, you'll never know until it's too late that your house is on fire.
Yeah, and then a lot of people too, a lot of times their gas is off or electric is off, and then they turn to the source of, cooking food on grills, and they have grills on the back porch,
That's also dangerous. Because especially, I think we had a couple this summer, but yeah, cooking on the porch is dangerous, especially if the charcoal grill of any kind, because the back porch is all wood, and that's a high fire load. It's highly combustible. If a little bit of ember, small ember, falling on the porch, and you don't see it, you leave it alone, give it some time, it'll ignite, and there goes the porch and the house. I mean, all it takes is just that one little piece of ember that you didn't see fly off.
That's right.
Let it be an accident. Maybe you drop something or forget to shut down the charcoals or something.
And, a lot of fires start when, people like myself, I work nights, and so I don't cook. And when I get home from working nights, I work nights, and so because if I sit down, I may go to sleep. And so do you see that often when people work late shifts and they come in early in the morning, cut the stove on, and they have a grease fire coming up? Can you elaborate?
Oh yeah, definitely. The number one cause of fires are cooking fires. People, like you said, they come home, had a late night, long night working, come in early morning, or vice versa, they'll come in after work during the day, want to cook something because they're hungry.
Yeah.
It could have been something as simple as boiling water or something. They want to hit the couch, watch a favorite TV show, they forget, or they just fall asleep, and the stove is on, and it ignites, it'll burn up the pot, and it gets real bad. I mean, it happens a lot, very often.
And then you also have cigarette fires, people that smoke, they don't lay the cigarette down on the on the coaster thing that they have, and then ignite the bed.
Yes, please don't smoke in bed. Please don't smoke in bed. Don't smoke at all. But if you're gonna smoke, just don't smoke in bed.
Right.
It happens, and especially there was a couple incidences this past year. I've been to those calls. People smoking cigarettes or cigars on the back porch or front porch, late nights hanging out. Don't even think about it. They missed whatever the container they were using to dump the ashes.
Yeah.
It gets on the porch. They go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
They wake up to their porch burning.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just from something simple as a cigarette that wasn't fully turned off. Remember, this oxygen is going to keep feeding whatever is burning, smoldering, and it's going to ignite eventually if all the right factors are in place.
Right. And fire safety, a safety precaution is necessary to be able to evacuate. How important is that? And let's talk about evacuation.
It's very important. I mean, kids do it all the time in schools,
Mhm.
which is great practice. We try to tell the kids and parents they should also practice at home.
Mhm.
Whenever they hear the smoke alarm go off in the house, maybe from cooking that they know it's a false, just practice the motion, because in the heat of a moment, like middle of the night, when the alarms do go off and there's something going on, who's like, what are you gonna do? People don't really think, they're acting on impulse, and their impulse is just to get out. It might not be that they have a plan, but to get out. And if you have kids, it's
That's right.
especially important for them to understand that they have to get out. Don't hide under the beds, don't hide in the closets, just get out the house.
Right.
And it's important to know that they need 2 ways out the house at least to plan on it. So if the front door is, or means the egress is blocked, they have the backup, which may be the back door or a window.
Okay.
And if that's not the case, they work out a plan and to make sure they have a meeting spot that could be preferably in front of the building, so when the firefighters do get on scene,
Right.
they're all accounted for, or they should know, and if not, they could let the firefighters know.
Yeah.
And also, if they come out, to stay out. Don't go back in.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that now only the community but also the churches, to educate about fire safety, because so many people in the community. I know I have a cousin that had a fire, and her daughter got trapped into a room, and the only way out was to come out the window. But they didn't have a fire safety plan in place. And so it's so very important to have that fire safety plan in place, and just every so often review it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I also want to add, if you're in a building or in there's a fire and you know the location, maybe in your bedroom or something, if you leave that room, close the door behind you. That will reduce the damage and the distance the fire will spread, which will ultimately limit the damage done in your house and your property. So don't forget about that. And you mentioned something about candles. You like candles? Make sure you turn it off before you go to sleep. Don't let it keep burning. Make sure they're away from the kids.
Yeah,
Make sure the
that's
kids don't touch it, because those things are dangerous, also unintended. You also mentioned the seasons. This is the season that everybody's decorating and they're plugging multiple items into the circuits, the outlets. It's important that if they do have these decorations, and I know people do it, I've done it, and I've learned, if they're gonna use power strips, it's important that they don't use the ones necessarily from the dollar store or something cheap.
Right.
Because they haven't passed safety analysis.
Sure.
And they can short easily, and sometimes they don't have the functions that if it does short, it'll cut the power there. It'll
Right.
keep going and then overheat the wires, and then fires are started.
Okay.
Also, Christmas, people will use live real trees. Make sure the tree is watered, has a good source of
Okay.
water, because if the tree dries out and have all these electronic things warming
Wow.
it up, that's another source of fire,
Wow.
which is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to go along with the fire plan, if they can't go out through the front way or the back and they're on the third floor and they're trapped in a room, it's important that they know to find a room with a window
Okay.
that has no fire,
Okay.
to get in their room,
Yeah.
close the door behind them, tuck the sheets under the door where it's cracked, so the smoke doesn't come in or minimizes it.
Yes.
Go to your window and hang out a sheet and close the window. So when the firefighters do get on scene, they do a 360. They'll walk around the building and see what's going on.
Okay.
They'll be like, "Oh snap! Somebody's in that room."
Wow.
Because they know they have the little sheet or whatever hanging out.
Uh-huh.
They'll throw a ladder or something and make sure they get to that window if you have no other means.
Wow. So those are some
It's
great
good
tips.
information.
Yeah, good information. We talk about the fire safety. How important is it to have renter's insurance?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. People don't know until it's too late that they should have renter's insurance. I've been to a lot of fires, and so far, I want to say 99.9999. That's almost everybody don't have rent insurance. So when my job at the SSU, the Special Services Unit, is to relocate families who've been displaced by fire. And part of my job will be to connect them with Red Cross to get them these services and the other appropriate resources throughout the city. And one of my questions is, do you have any renter's insurance? And they're like, no. And sadly, these people didn't even know of such service that there is. And people don't know also, it costs as much as a Netflix account. It could, or more, just based on the package you get.
Yeah, $10, basically monthly,
And they think, I guess, I don't know, perhaps they think the landlord will help them with whatever insurance they have, but their insurance is for structure stuff to get repaired, not their personal items, clothing, food, or whatever. And also rent insurance covers against theft and other things, but it's huge that it's really important that they get this, because you never know if you need it until it happens, and then it's too late.
And once again, to have a backup plan, if you do have a fire, have a place, for shelter set up, because, you can't always depend on, whoever to give you shelter, you know what I'm saying, during these fires, because during the winter months especially, the shelters are full, and emergency shelters are full, and so you're trying to squeeze people in. If you have a 50-unit house, you got 50 people displaced. Now you got to find a spot for all 50 people, and it's not always easy for the shelters to accommodate. It's their job, but to accommodate emergencies like that, and so we have to be prepared for any emergency. Just have a backup plan, and if you can't, just name them one by one, go over the list one by one for emergency backup plans. As far as fire safety, have a plan for escape, and so forth.
I think first and foremost is keep an eye on what you fry. It's a catchy little phrase, but it's pretty much if you're cooking stuff, don't leave it. I mean, just be mindful that you have something on the stove and it's cooking. Keep your eye on it. Don't fall asleep. Don't leave the room, because people get sidetracked and will forget. The second thing would be for children to know not to play with ladders and matches.
Okay.
So here's another little catchy slogan. I would tell the kids, ladders and matches are tools for adults, not toys for children. So I go to the schools and I teach them this. It gets them better in their brain, because I have them repeat it and it's catchy. So they'll go home with it and they're like, hey, this is what I learned. So yeah, ladders and matches, keep them away from kids. I mean, they're kids. They're curious. They're gonna want to play with it when it's very dangerous. Always practice and plan having 2 ways out of your house and having a meeting place outside. That's a safe distance from the house.
Right.
So when there is, like I said, a fire, you have a plan in place. Also, go through with their children. Make sure they know not to hide, because firefighters, when they do get on scene and they go through the smoke, they look pretty intimidating to children. They might look like some character from Star Wars or something, and sound like them talking like, come with me, and then all that good stuff. But so they might hide. So it's important for them to know that firefighters are their friends. And all the stuff they have on is to protect them. And they'll have a helmet, they'll have a mask and a big coat and a big tank on their back. Not to be afraid. And once you're out the house, stay out the house. People like to go back in for whatever devices, pets. Leave the going back into the building to the firefighters because we're better prepped for that. And that's our job. So don't go back in because you may not make it back out because it's not the fire that kills people; it's the smoke first, and then
That's
the fire
right.
gets to them.
You know, and a lot of people, they have pets. Is there any kind of fire tips for pets?
Fire tips for pets.
You know, as far as safety for them.
They should walk around with little extinguishers. No. Little dogs with the vest with a little fire and stuff. Just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just have a plan in place
For your whole entire
for your
family?
family.
Yeah.
That includes
That's
getting
right.
the pet out in an appropriate, like in a safe manner. That's safe for everybody. If it jeopardizes your safety, I mean, pets are part of the family, so practice with the pet in mind.
Right.
That may be having an extra leash by the door, extra bag for him, like for emergencies, like you could just pick up and go, along with your family, having a bag, emergency bag, having the essentials, underwears and stuff, just in case you got to get out the house in a rush.
One of the things too, I know you guys deal with the 911 calls, you know, and I know you guys deal with so many different things when it comes to not only just fire safety, but emergency, situations coming up. Now we have Halloween coming up, and so a lot of children they like to go trick or treating. Is there any tips for trick or treaters to be safe out there?
No, definitely. One, don't go too far, I guess, from your home, from the area that if you're a child or if you're a parent, don't have your child roam too freely throughout the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Also, if it's really dark out, make sure they have some kind of flashlight or something that that makes them visible.
Right.
Third would be the candy.
Right.
Have your parents check the candy because there's people with bad intentions out there. You never know. Check the candies.
And
Also,
they have so many, and they have different locations. I think there's a location happening on the 28th, I believe, on Barber Street, the Trunk of Treats, which is sponsored. And normally the Hartford Fire Department and different organizations come together right there at Barber Street Plaza to give out treats to the young children and to the families. And that happens the 28th of October. And so go to the different organizations. You can check with like the fire department, the police departments, and find out what's going on, what's available to the community.
right. So there's that one at Unity Plaza.
Right.
That Monday, it's going to be one at 15 Pavilion
Right.
around 5:30ish.
Yeah.
There's going to be another one at Burn School, I think, the following day.
Yeah. And so it happens, the trunk or treat, like I stated, it happens Saturday, October the 27th. And that's right at 265 Barber Street in Hartford, Connecticut. And and like I said, all the organizations, they come out and support. There's also going to be a Halloween trick or treat right there at Dunkin' Donuts Stadium Park. Sunday, October the 28th, 12 p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. And so this event is free to the community. I know the fire department, they always show up.
We try to make it all.
Yes, and try to support and all the different events. And it's so very important that there's so many events happening that, really you don't have to take your child out, through the neighborhoods to trick or treat.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. There's trunk or treats at different locations, and it's a safe environment, and it's amongst adults who's watching, and it's a fun time. Usually there's music, and everybody's dressed up, and they're all meeting in one spot, and it's not like in the streets and at midnight.
And so, these are fire tips and safety tips that we want to bring to you. So every month until, the ending of the year, we like to have the fire department come in and talk about fire safety, things that you need to know to restate, some of these things, because a lot of times people during their work, they forget about all these different tips that we give them. And so it's good to, give our community a reminder because our fire departments and police departments, they go through so much when it comes down to fires and the importance of fire safety. Is there any other thing that you would like to discuss with us on today, Lieutenant?
What did I miss? Was there anything I missed? I think I'm gonna do a slew of
I think you
things.
covered it all.
Cooking, letters and matches, means of egress.
Ask about if people want to be firefighters.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
And so if you wanted to become a firefighter, if a person out there wanted to become a firefighter, and that's Lakia, she wanted to ask you this question. Basically, is the application process, and they would just.
Yes, I'm thankful for the process that the city had for the application of being a firefighter. You go to City Hall, and you will fill out an inquiry form if the position is open. Yeah, so when the position does open up, they will mail out the application to whoever inquired about it.
Okay.
Essentially. So after that, I think the prerequisites, I'm pretty sure it's just a high school diploma or a GED. So I think it's a great opportunity for people because it's a great job and it's very rewarding. And that's, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that's it. And then also for volunteer opportunities, the Explorer program.
Okay.
Open to kids 14, and we meet once a week, and it's a great way to get just foot into the door if they are interested in being firefighters, or I don't know, anything, just want to do something productive for themselves and fun.
Yeah, and we encourage men and also women to apply for the fire department.
Oh, definitely, yes.
So so it's great. Well, Lieutenant, we want to thank you for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
And I tell you,
This was fun.
we're looking forward to you and your staffing to come back, and talk about fire safety and strategies and emergencies, on our program. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
would
so
love
much for
to.
coming.
I'll come back next week if you want.
All
We
right.
can dive more into the whole
All
field.
right.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right, don't forget the Hartford Trunk or Treat happens Saturday, October 27th. That's Unity Plaza, 265 Barber Street in Hartford, Connecticut. And you bring your whole family out. They're gonna have music, gonna have giveaways, fun. They're gonna have free candy, live DJs happening, and that happens Saturday, October the 27th, 2018. Trick or treat with the family, all right? And also at the Dunkin' Donuts Park happening on Sunday, October the 28th. And the other program is the 27th, so you could do a double header, double headliner. So you hit Saturday and then Sunday go to Dunkin' Donuts Park, and you can get some more candy. Now, I don't, because so much candy, you have cavities. So no, so just go out and have a little fun, and it's an opportunity for organizations, the family and parents to network and talk to each other, because that's what we need in our communities. We need to have that communication, in our communities. So it all happens on Sunday, October the 28th, 12 p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Halloween Trick or Treats is free, a community event. It all happens at the Dunkin' Donuts Park, right on Main Street in downtown Hartford, and it's for kids, for children 12 and under. All right, 12 and under. So families, make sure you take your children out for this particular event. And so, have a good time. We want you all to support. Also, Hartford, just want to let you know the cutoff time for applying for the Hartford Police Department is Friday, October the 19th. We're requesting if you are a Hartford resident, or if you're not a Hartford resident and you would like to apply for a Hartford Police Department, they're accepting applications for police officers. You can start your career, and one good thing about it, you could retire at 20 years, I believe it is, for retirement. And
Pretty good.
So HPD Recruitment Division, and then if you want to get more information, you can go online to join HPD at Hartford hartford.gov or contact 860-757-4233. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get young men and young women to apply for the Hartford Police Department positions because we need more officers in our community that care about our community, and that's one of our goals, is to be able to work along with the police department to get applicants to apply. And one of the things is, if you are interested, if you are in security right now and you think this is a great opportunity for you to get into and becoming a police officer, inbox me, because what we want to do is we want to mentor you. We have police officers, and even if fire department, you can inbox me or send us an email at hartfordhcl@gmail.com, or go to our website, www.hartfordcommunityleaders.com and .org, and you can get information about how to reach out to us, and we can give you mentors. And that's what we want to do, is we want to mentor you. So if you're a little afraid of applying, don't be afraid, and just let us know, and we'll connect you with the right people so that you can apply to become that police officer, to become that fighter. It's so very important that we have people from our community, especially in the Hartford community, to apply for these positions. I know when I was growing up, I was part of the Police Explorers, and I always wanted to be a police officer, and I was hoping that people would come in and mentor me, to become that police officer. If I had that little push, I could have become that police officer or that firefighter, But they have the great programs, the Explorers, and they have police explorers, and you said firefighter explorers, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and so those programs are so great, and they do mentoring and prepare you for becoming that firefighter or that police officer. So please, ma'am, sir, apply. And if you need help, we're here to help you. All right? Once again, they're hiring. And don't forget, the CRT Community Renewal Team, winter is coming. Be prepared for the cold. And Community Renewal Team offers energy assistance. We know that a lot of people have problems during winter time, especially when they have them old gas heaters, and I mean they'll eat you up for heat, and so you want to apply. Make sure you apply, and they help Connecticut residents pay home heating bills. So this service is free, offered by the CRT Community Services. And if you need more information, you can apply online or visit www.crtct.org or call our 24-hour hotline at 860-560-5800. All right. Also happening, we got a lot of things happening. Can somebody say that there's nothing going on in Hartford? I said, wow. And we sent out an e-blast on this morning, and we have Lakia. She has an organization called Mixed Chick Sorority Incorporated, and they would like to invite you to join their team for the American Cancer Society, and depends on making strides against breast cancer events to raise awareness and funds to save lives from breast cancer. This all happens this coming Sunday, actually the 28th.
Yes.
October the 28th, from 10 a.m. On, and they're going to have it at Bushnell Park. And look here, if you can give us a little overview on that.
Okay, you may register with my team if you go to the HartfordStrides.org site and just type in my team, and then all the details are there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to walk, you can donate, and all the information is on the site I just provided.
All right. And so, it all happens Sunday, October the 28th. Also, we want to say, those of you that we want to say thank you from Lakia and her support team. It says many thanks to everyone who attended the historic Connecticut March for Black Women at Connecticut State Capitol that happened on September the 28th. We had 50 plus individuals that came there. Of course, yours truly, Don Padgett, was there, and I was on my other duty working sound.
He's an engineer, so I had to get the best.
And so we were there, and so we had a great time. We want to say thank you. All right.
Thank you also to everyone who came, and I hope to network with more of you.
And it was an event for the March for Black Women, and they reached out to many Black women in our communities, and they talked about different issues that they go through with in our society. And so it was great to hear so many different topics that came up. We talked about sickle cell that's prevalent in our community. We talked about women, the fairness with the wages in our businesses. We talked about different topics that we discussed, and one good thing about it, we didn't have just Black women. We had all race of women. We have Spanish, Latino women. We had different cultures that came out to speak about the issues that they face, and you all going to be meeting real soon to discuss more about how you can come to resolutions on some of these issues that face with women in the community. Is that correct?
Yes, and once I get the date, I will definitely keep you in a loop on everything. Miss Lydia Douglas was one of our attendees at the march.
Yes.
That's how I met her.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we just want to also let you know that we're taking basic donations for our homeless shelter happening between now and December. Donations, socks, toothpaste, toothbrush, first aid kits, things like that. Lotions, soaps, hand sanitizers for our homeless shelter. We go out to the homeless shelter from our staff at Hartford Community Leaders Developmental Corporation, and we go out and talk to the homeless. And also what we're planning to do also is food share. We're working with the food share committee and a CEO from the food share, and we'll be working with them coming up real soon and talking and going to the different sites to talk about interview skills for job interview, resume making, email addresses, things like that, and Dress for Success for our community, for job training. We'll be doing those different things. So we have our community homeless shelter, We Care packet. So if you have a donation, make sure you inbox me, Hartford Community Leaders, HartfordHCL@gmail.com. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, Hartford Community Leaders Developmental Corporation site, and we'll be happy to receive those in, and we can pick up those donations. Last year, we had over 150 to 200 care packs presented to the community. I tell you, those people were blessed when we went out to the different shelters and brought those items to them, and also gave them an encouraging word and talked to our community. All right, and another thing that we're working on, Youth Empowerment 2018. We're still working on that. Patricia Nelson, who's our chief engineer, she's asking those that would like to volunteer for our Youth Empowerment 2018. We're still getting information. We're waiting to hear back for the location, and we can give you that information as soon as possible. Also, I think that's about it. We're going to turn it over to Lakia.
Hello again. Our final guest is Miss Lydia Douglas. She's a photographer. She also does movies. So my first question is, what inspired you to become a photographer?
Well, I suppose it was my father. My late father was an artist, and he had many, many talents.
Wow.
And both he and I were the family photographers back in the day, where there were like the little, the 110 film, the Polaroids. No matter what, whenever there was a family gathering, he and I would take pictures. And one of the projects that I remember the most that he took was when I was born, he took a photograph of me once a week and made it into a book. So there's 52 pictures.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, so that got me having the bug. And I was always interested in art, visual art and dancing as well. So my parents got me involved in the arts very young. And then my mother taught me how to sew. This was back in the day when people used to teach their daughters how to sew. And I made all my own clothes, and I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I went to school to study fashion design, but I discovered I hated drawing. And I wasn't very good at it.
Wow.
And one of my best friends who was at the same school had a camera, 35 millimeter camera, and I borrowed it, took a photography class, and that was it.
Wow.
I just fell in love.
Wonderful. Do you plan to publish your father's work?
I hadn't thought about it.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about it.
I think that'd be a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Now, what's your favorite camera that you use?
It doesn't matter. The camera I use most now is a digital camera. I just switched from film to digital just a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And sometimes I still shoot film. I used to develop and print my own film, my own black and white. So I use Nikon because I started off with a Minolta, and then I switched to a Nikon when a boyfriend that I was dating, who was also a photographer, gave me a Nikon, and then I just started building, my equipment using a Nikon. So I have a Nikon digital camera that I use, and my phone a lot. I have more pictures on my phone than I have ever taken.
Okay.
And I just really love photography because my gift is like capturing people's expressions. And if it's more than, so I do portraiture. So it's more than one person, I'm capturing the people interacting together or responding to something, that's going on in the world.
The true essence of it all.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yes.
I would totally have a gift for that, and it's true.
Wonderful.
Lydia, you have an upcoming project that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about that project.
Okay, well, there's two. There's
Okay.
one more that happened. I just had this burst of creativity
Wow.
in the last 2 months. So there's
Wow.
another project that I thought about since I met you. When I met you, I was talking about a project, and I finished the book, the proposal for it.
Okay.
It's a book that tells the story of Black, Latino, and Native American families who have lost loved ones to racially motivated gun violence.
Wow.
And initially it started with Black and Latinos because that's what you hear about the most, with the police gun violence. But lately I've been hearing, not on the mainstream news, on public television, NPR, the radio, that there's this one particular case that they were talking about a Native American who had an interaction with a police officer. So I thought to include them and any other people of color who are murdered by not only police gun violence, racially motivated. So it could be a hate crime, people who kill people, white people who kill people of color, defending themselves with that stand your ground law. So it's going to really look at basically like what Black Lives Matter look like. Black and brown lives do matter, but apparently to some people they don't.
Yeah. All right. And so this project is coming up soon. You're going to have this book released, or?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
So I'm looking for families,
Okay.
people who want to be interviewed.
Okay.
And it's all over, all over the U.S. I'm willing to travel.
And so, you how long have you been a photographer? And doing
Since
that
I was
work?
19.
Okay, all right,
Wow.
all right. So your future goal is to have the book and then also release a movie.
Right. So
Oh,
the movie,
is it an offset of the book?
the movie would be. I'm not really focusing so much on a movie of that right now. That would be a documentary,
Okay.
and that would be an outgrowth of that. But there is another short film
Okay.
that I want to make. That I got inspired to make, but this was after I met you guys, and it's sometimes it's hard for me to talk because it's
Yes.
really powerful.
It's okay.
Can you tell us about the movie that's already out?
We got
Sure.
about 2 minutes. We got about 2 minutes.
2
Okay,
minutes.
okay.
Okay. Nappy. It's a documentary that is out already. You can get it in your library. It's a documentary that tells the story of 15 Black women and girls who decided to stop straightening their hair and go natural.
All right.
And it's in a lot of libraries in the state.
Okay.
And the other thing I want to get is a plug for that because I show it,
Okay.
and I'd like to show it at colleges and universities. So
And so we'd like to have you come back and
Yes.
discuss more about the different projects that you're working on. And so today was an introduction to have you come in and just introduce yourself
Thank you.
and get you familiarized with the studio. And so we'll have you back.
okay,
Thank you for coming.
I'd love to
out.
come back.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Hartford. Well, we thank you for your time. We thank all of our guests. I tell you, powerful, powerful. I tell you, Hartford has it. We've got it here in Hartford. And just, I'm just so inspired. Hartford, we've got